So today we're going to talk about the fear of not falling in love quickly and or at all, which is actually a pretty interesting fear that I've never encountered up to this point, up to me seeing this article's title. But yeah, this article from the psychologytoday.com site, which is going to be linked down in the description, also in the show notes, is by Aaron Ben Sayef, PhD, in the Name of Love, which might be a book that he has written. I actually don't know. So fear. I have not fallen in love for years. Why do people fear falling in love? Which I think is actually also pretty interesting. And yeah, let's see. The article is relatively long, so I might be splitting it up in 2 episodes. Yeah, just because in theory, I'm having quite a lot of time now, but practically no, just because of fucking train things. And yeah, anyway. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. By Plato. Falling in love is an exciting and pleasant experience for most people. Why then do so many people fear falling in love? Romantic love involves intense sexual attraction and meaningful friendship, enabling personal development and also self-fulfillment. Fear of falling in love, which is philophobia, apparently, involves a dissonance between fear of falling in love, which is philophobia, involves a dissonance between intense attraction towards someone and the worry of the failure of achieving a profound bond. Factors underlying the fear of falling in love. In falling in love, I let down all of my defenses, becoming mentally and physically naked. I trust a man and emotionally depend on him, but have no security net. If he lets me down, it will greatly hurt me. By Helen. There is no reason for women to fall in love after 40. It is better that the man loves you more than you love him. The fear is not falling in love, but of an asymmetrical love. By Annette. Fear of falling in love, a type of fear of intimacy, refers to the fear of establishing a loving bond. A broader fear of intimacy involves reticence of other kinds of intimacy, when, for instance, one is already in a romantic or non-romantic relationship. Approximately 17% of people in Western culture suffer from fear of intimacy, which includes fear of abandonment and engulfment, although both ultimately are part of loss either of the partner or oneself. Psychologists indicate that personal risk factors such as childhood trauma or neglect, abuse, or sickness or death of a parent generate the fear of falling in love. I will not discuss these factors, but rather focus on the risk of the romantic process itself. And I think it just really makes sense. I mean, if a loved one of yours dies, then you're probably going to have some bad, well, I don't want to say coping mechanisms, but there's going to be some traumas. Yeah, this is what I want to say. In addition to personal background factors, fear of falling in love relates to 3 major aspects. The first one is finding a suitable person to falling in love with. Typically involves a long, painful, and frustrating search. The second point, the good results are typically brief, after which a period of sadness and despair prevails. And the third point is the experience itself involves, in addition to exalted, happy feelings, negative aspects such as a loss of control and also identity. Finding a suitable romantic partner often requires a long search, including unpleasant, superficial, and disappointing experiences. When a brief relationship ends, one may decide upon calculating the benefits and costs of their experience that is not worth the personal heartbreak. A common reaction to this difficulty is avoiding significant investments in a search, hoping that the dream person will nevertheless appear. As one woman said, "I am not looking for my dream man, but if he knocked on my door, I would kick him out of my bed." I don't get that. But anyway. However, the probability of this fantasy happening is actually low. Making an effort to find a partner considerably increases this probability of finding them. Since there are various ways to search for a partner, the optimal method does not require a tiring search, taking all one's resources and time. Rather, a less intensive search can enable you to continue with other meaningful activities. Things that you actually enjoy, your hobbies, things that you deeply care about, and all of those things, which, at least at my point of view, just truly does make sense that you're not going to focus your life completely on finding a partner. The results of falling in love frequently can be painful. Sometimes falling in love is asymmetrical, and sometimes a great love abruptly ends in rejection when pain and disappointment continually burn our hearts for years. As one woman said, I'm scared of falling in love because when I'm in love with someone, I think about a future with them which is unrealistic. The above two factors underlying the fear of falling in love do not undermine the value of such love in itself, but indicate the difficulties before and after falling in love. I try to discuss the third and more central factor, which refers to difficulties present within the experience of falling in love. The paradox of falling in love. Falling in love again, never wanted to. What am I do? Oh, what am I to do? Can't help it. From Marlene Dietrich, or Dietrich, whatever. What do you get when you fall in love? You only get lies and pain and sorrow so far, at least until tomorrow. I'll never fall in love again, by Dionne Warwick. I prefer influenza over falling in love. I fear jumping into a meaningful, profound relationship in the mere basis of the intense excitement of falling in love. The times that allowed this excitement ended up being superficial bonds in which I was required to change who I am, as if a foreign woman had invaded and controlled me. By Scarlett. Falling in love itself is an exhilarating, enjoyable experience, including both positive and negative aspects. Despite Mae West's claim that too much of a good thing can be wonderful, too much of a good thing can be wonderful, there are often difficulties with an experience that is too good. Thus, the addictive, exhilarating feeling of falling in love may overshadow other important things in life, making you behave as if a stranger has invaded you, controlling your actions while preventing your authentic behavior. A major difficulty in falling in love is the feeling of losing control. In the state of being in love, there is a significant trust in the partner, but the process of falling in love necessitates unfounded trust, which endangers you. The fear of falling in love is often expressed in holding very high expectations for the suitable partner without a readiness to fall in love with someone who is anything less than this perfect person. Indeed, the phrase unlucky in love, quote unquote, often refers to those for whom love passes their way more than once, but due to fear, they refuse to see it. Another way in which we may see a fear of falling in love is when the implementation of love is complex and highly improbable. For example, falling in love with a married person or someone with no chance of sustaining an enduring relationship because of their traits and conflicting future plans. So which way to go? And there's two quotes again. I fear falling in love very much, as I fear being abandoned. As a result, I twice ended up in marriages where there was a lack of infatuation or space for me to grow and thrive. By Lucy. Even though I felt painful rejection from the love of my life, I kept my heart open, for I knew the benefits of love over the symptoms of life without intimacy. Rebecca. Like anger, sadness, and other negative emotions, fear is valuable when it is brief and limited to the given circumstances. When fear is chronic with no connection to reality, it is harmful. Fear of falling in love is valuable when there are red flags associated with a specific person's traits and behavior. Fearing all cases of falling in love is a chronic harmful anxiety. The great light of love can indeed burn our hearts with intense pain when relationships end. However, it is preferable to be both intensely happy and sad than not feel anything. As Alfred Tennyson said, it is better to have loved and lost than never have. This is actually a really interesting one because I've heard it so often in my life. Alfred Tennyson. It is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. I do know a slight variation of that, which is, it is better to have loved and lost than never to have allowed yourself to love again, or something like that. I don't know. Life involves a desire for improvement associated with taking risks, while realizing that all good experiences in life will sometimes end. Emotionless life is like mental death. We should behave wisely while taking some calculated risks. One of them is falling in love. The bad news concerning falling in love is that the risks are real and often materialized. The good news is that we can cope with these risks and bring back the marvelous feeling of falling in love at any age. When accepting the fact that life is not always a bed of roses, we can get used to the sting of thorns without giving up the sweetness. And I don't know, I think it is a very difficult topic, but I would also kind of say, and this is the end of the article, yeah. I think, by the way, first of all, a pretty great article. I've really enjoyed it. But I would definitely also say that, I don't know. I mean, falling in love is such an incredibly great process. At least it's been for me, of course. I really had a lot of, especially also this year, just I've seen and noticed and got to feel the negative sides of love and being in a relationship and all of these things. And I I just do want to say that I think it is worth it because I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about why I'm doing things, what I need, what I'm looking for in another person. I mean, I think with every single relationship that you're gonna have, you're gonna see what you're wishing for in the other person. I guess it's like a process. Maybe you're gonna find the perfect person just the first time. Maybe you're gonna find the perfect person the second or the third time or the fourth time. I do think experiences therefore matter quite a lot. Also for yourself. Noticing what you think is important, noticing why you're doing certain things, and just about your behavior or in terms of your behavior. There's so many things that I've learned, and so many things that I am in the end actually very grateful for. Of course, it hurt afterwards. It really did, and it still is fucking with me, even though it's been like more than half a year. Which is very interesting, to be honest. Like it's a really long time since then, but of course ups and downs. But yeah, I'm doing good. It takes some time, but I'm doing really good. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna end the episode. So bye bye.